Let's head to the phones where we have the general manager of the Guam Power Authority, Mr. John Benavente. Good morning, John. Thanks for holding.
No problem, Chris. Good morning.
Okay, Chris and Sabrina, it's the link. Bree, I know you just wanted to get right into it.
Yeah, I just want to get it out of the way because it is kind of fresh and actually concerning. You got the letter from Senator Clint Riddell yesterday. It was based on an anonymous letter sent to Senator Joanne Brown regarding allegations that supervisors, employees over at GPA are gambling online and also while working. What's your response to that letter? Are you going to do any sort of an investigation or put it to the side?
First of all, Sabrina, all internal audit or anonymous tips and everything go through an investigation. We don't put it aside here at the GPA. No, I'd like to note that right out front. So yes, I did receive the copy of the complaint yesterday, and I immediately forwarded it to our internal audit team, which are now looking at all that the allegations that were made. And again, similarly, there is a due process that we have to go through, and it all begins with the internal auditor who will do an independent evaluation of all of this, and of course report to myself, and also the CCU audit committee chairperson, which is again involved in all of this internal audit issues that we have. So yes, we will be looking at it. And again, we have to go through the due process before I can say yes or no to any of those other, whether it's true or not, all of that. Again, that's something we have to look at. But I can assure you that we take all these things very seriously here, including drugs, and all those type of scenarios. And we have, we do take action as appropriate for the different offenses under our, most especially under service rules, personnel rules and regulations, which are actually kind of a code of ethics, for
right.
our employees.
Mr. Benavente, so what is the existing GPA policy on, is there a policy on gambling while on duty, or is it covered under some other rule and reg?
Inappropriate type of action, and that certainly will be covered in one of the it may not be as specific as that, but it's covered under a general section of the personnel rules and regulations. So definitely gambling during working hours, online gambling during working hours, all those issues that are being brought to the forefront, those are, yes, issues that we need to address.
Have you heard anything from the federal authorities regarding this?
No, I've heard nothing.
But this is the first time you've heard of any sort of allegations of this nature? Or were you just, when you received the anonymous letter, that was probably, it was CC'd to you?
No, the Senator Riddell is the one that actually wrote to me.
Right.
And with the letter.
Right, so you did get a copy of the actual letter.
I immediately sent to our internal audit.
I actually have it. I'm going to go ahead and read it out. Is that
again,
okay?
I'm not going to go through about each of the personnel, mentioning names, all of those different things. But really, to me, Chris, those should be confidential, at least until there's some due process.
Of course, right, yeah.
So from my end, I'm not going to get into that. Okay, the letter is already out there. I didn't put it out there, no? And that's fine. But be as it may, I'm not going to go into the details of that.
Of course,
that's something that I, in all fairness to the employees, who are there, I need to give them due process, before I say anything, because that's at least in all fairness to my whole entire team.
Of course.
That's all I'm asking. Is that I'm not going to go through the.
Oh, we wouldn't announce the names, sir. Of course not.
But this is only geared toward looking at GPA, right? But do you plan on looking into possibly GWA? Because you guys are consolidated, right?
I would pass it on to. I'm sure that I will discuss it with my my sister company, because I'm in charge of power,
Right.
and Miguel Bedalio is in charge of water.
Mhm.
So I will mention it to him, and of course, he'll probably take a look also with his entity as to what's happening.
John, I just want to know, and it's a little early, right? But at the conclusion of the investigation, what will be done with the findings if it's determined that there was gambling while on duty? Is there going to be a disciplinary action within the department, or is this going to be something that's going to be sent up to maybe the Guam Police Department or the AG's office?
Now, this is a disciplinary action on the part of the agency. Disciplinary action could include anywhere from, and again, I'm not saying this is what it is right now, right? But it could include anywhere from a warning, suspension, long-term suspension, immediate dismissal, all of that. But then the process is such, Chris, is that we do the investigation. The IA determines, makes its recommendation to myself, and then we do what you call propose disciplinary action, which we then provide that to the employee. Then the employee has 10 days to respond to that. Then after we respond to that, then they have a one-on-one meeting with myself, and I make a decision as to, and provide them a response within 10 days after as to my proposed action, which could be any one of what I mentioned. And then after that, if they don't agree with my action or believe that they were unduly, decided, the action was decided upon, then they can at that point take it to the Civil Service Commission. But there is that the set process for this type of action within our entity with dated timelines. No,
Right.
the only part that takes may take a little bit of time, but again, I'm not saying is the immediate investigation by the IA, which will be the basis of me providing a proposed adverse action or not. No.
Yeah, John, I wanted to ask about during the pandemic. There were certain agencies that never stopped working, that were reporting to work. What divisions were reporting physically? Right, employees were reporting physically to work at GPA.
Actually, first of all, because the pandemic is unprecedented even for ourselves. It's not like a typhoon or anything that we're used to. Everything has a standard operating procedure and all of that. So, of course, the first personnel group that are reporting to work are all of those power plant operators and maintenance personnel as needed to address the different concerns. No, also the 24/7 T&D personnel that address the trouble call that comes in 24 hours in the day, so that we fix that. And then there's also, we have to bring in other personnel, right? How do we safely protect our employees from contacting COVID-19? And we also have other teams that to determine what is the best course of action we need. Determine alternative plans. For example, those that are operating the power plants, there's like 30 or 50 of them. They're the only ones that could operate that power plant. Mm-hmm. So we looked at conditions such as preparing to sequester them, so that we can have enough personnel operating the plant. So we had a whole bunch of people. I think maybe we may say maybe 15 to 20%.
So were HR staff reporting physically to work?
Yeah, there were.
Were procurement personnel reporting physically to work?
Some of them were, and some will be. After a while, we started teleworking. No?
What about customer service? Were they physically reporting to work?
For the period of time that remember we were closed from March all the way up to May. That's the period of time that the front offices were closed to customers. So again, some of them will report to work, and do their calling and different things. Because again, we didn't just shut down the whole agency. We had to begin to contact our customers, address the different concerns they have and all of that. So, there'll be some teleworking from home and some that will come into the office. But we had to set up the whole procedure here so that all entry is in one area, set up all the testing, follow the CDC guidelines, and do all of that. So again, that's the process. So you, off the top of my head, maybe 15% or so will be at work in any one day. But that's about all.
Okay. Well,
Until we open up in May, and then most, maybe 85 to 90% were coming into work, and the balance were working under teleworking. No?
right. All right. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
I
John.
think Chris did you have anything?
No, I just wanted to say that so they got the double pay. So I heard that they're betting big with that gambling thing.
He's just joking.
I'm just teasing, John.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Thank you, Chris. And I wanted to go through that. I appreciate that.
Okay, John, appreciate it.
All right.
That's stuff.
Thank you.
Right on. John Benavente, Guam Power Authority General Manager, says that currently there's an IA. Yeah, they have internal affairs at GPA. There's an IA investigation ongoing currently. We did receive a copy of that letter. You're right, Bree. It's got a bunch of names in it. But this gambling thing, which again, the issue is not, I mean, I don't know if the issue is the gambling, but it's largely that people are doing it on the job.
Right.
And that
using
also
the government computers.
using government computers, winning money that we're hearing they're just not paying taxes on, and that's why.
Yeah. So just so people, if you didn't catch the story that we talked about and wrote this morning, that according to the anonymous letter, the writer alleges that the investigation should start in GPA's HR department. Quote, "This is very disgusting because these are HR staff that have access to employee records and contact information." The anonymous writer added, quote, "This gambling group is going on also at other sections in GPA like customer service and a procurement division. This behavior has to stop in our government, and these employees need to make their priority to work for the people and earn their high pay and not working to organize gambling," end quote. So that was the anonymous letter that was sent to Senator Joanne Brown. Senator Joanne Brown sent that anonymous letter over to Senator Clint Ridgell, who has oversight over utilities. Senator Ridgell yesterday sent a letter and CC'd that anonymous letter to Mr. Benavente, requesting that he look into this. And he also forwarded his letter to the Attorney General's office.
Right, and then yesterday, the Port Authority of Guam had come out with a release saying that they were made aware of a federal investigation and that a couple of the port police officers were part of this online gambling app. And, that was interesting what Senator Brown had said, because I didn't really think about it until this morning. But the port GM, Roy Respicio, basically in that press release, kind of like announced to the world that the FBI is investigating this because he said he was made aware of a federal investigation. And
yeah, here's the direct quote. "We
Okay.
have just been made aware that several of our port police officers are allegedly involved in an illegal gambling matter that currently is the subject of an FBI investigation.
right.
We are conducting our own administrative review, and because this involves a personnel matter, we are unable to comment further at this time."
Right. And so I thought it was interesting what Senator Brown had said about the Port GM press releasing the FBI's activities to the island. I mean, I didn't really see it that way, but I can kind of see like, hey, everybody, the FBI's investigating this. If you're doing this online gambling app, you better start covering your tracks. But it is what it is. I mean, if he didn't say it, then the media would have been like, oh, why didn't you say something? So, but then again, we hear so much that, oh, people can't say anything because it's under investigation. So it is what it is.
Right. And the port actually was not one of the agencies that was mentioned in the Civil Service Commission
Correct.
documents that
Yes.
were related to the airport officer that was terminated. He had established his own gambling group, online gambling group, which involved, I think it was over 250 individuals in his group alone, and it mentioned other airport police officers, other airport police officers, Guam firefighters, Superior Court marshals,
Right.
National Guard members,
Right.
and some private businesses, and some people on and off island.
So I wonder, during the judiciary oversight hearing, because you watched it, did you know
I
if
didn't
they?
watch it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
I didn't watch the whole thing either. I wonder if it was asked of the court, like, hey, do you have anybody who's involved with this gambling thing? Because you're
No.
right, they did mention the marshals and the.
Yeah, and I don't think so, because I think that was specifically towards what was being alleged in the court cases of Mark Mayo and former mayor
Right,
Junior Mayor
right,
Jesse
right,
Blas.
yeah. I mean, they didn't really answer any questions during the hearing yesterday, so I don't know if it would have mattered if it was asked. Yeah. So, and it was funny because when this first came out, and I heard airport cops, I messaged the Port GM Roy Respicio, and I said, "Hey, do you have any statement on whether or not Port Police are involved with this?" Just because, by assumption, when reading the Civil Service Commission documents, the appeal of Jericho Santos, he did mention different agencies and 249 other people who were in this gambling group. So I kind of thought, oh, if airport cops are involved, all the cops are all like buddies, you know what I mean? You get GPDs, buddies with airport cops, buddies with the port cops. So I asked Rory, I said, hey, any port, do you have a statement on the port police being involved? And he was like, well, no, I don't.
What I thought also was interesting was, were they allegedly doing this all during the pandemic? You know what I mean? Because if they were gambling on the job, then you would think that, okay, so these all, and I really hate to say it, but like frontliners, the essential employees,
Yeah.
if it was occurring during the pandemic.
Because people who were working during the pandemic, maybe there wasn't, unless you're, frontline, right? Because there's like frontline, and then there's like frontline, where you're like a doctor or a nurse or whatever, and then you got some other, for example, like Port Police. Well, they never shut down though, so maybe they were working. But good point, Bree.